and unto the rest in Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine, and which have not known the depths of Satan as they speak, I will put upon you none other burden. But check this out. But that which you have already, hold fast till I come. What does that suggest there? When Jesus says, whatever you have already, hold on tight to it. It suggests that you could lose it. Now, the once saved, always saved doctrine says that once you get it, you can't lose it. Well, Jesus is teaching us that once you get it, you can lose it if you don't hold on to it. You have to remain faithful. That's why we have all these different parables where Jesus talks about the 10 virgins. You have the Song of Solomon that is a beautiful picture of this faithful woman who was tempted by Solomon, who was a type of the Antichrist in that chapter, trying to seduce her away from her what's the word for that? If you're engaged to a husband? Fiance, there we go. All right, so he was trying to take her away. We are, in a sense, God's, we're his bride. He's our fiance, right? So you go into that Song of Solomon, and that woman, she was, flattered by Solomon. Solomon was the richest man in the world, had all the worldly means. And this was probably when Solomon had fell off the horse and became fell into idolatry and was bad at this time. So he's trying to steal this woman because it's a challenge to him. But she remains faithful to her fiance and would not give in to any of his flatteries. And the women of Jerusalem came and said, hey, why don't you want to be Solomon's wife? I mean, this is an amazing position you can have. You can have everything. The world is at your fingertips. And that's exactly what Satan will promise us, to pull us away from Christ. He will promise us all the things of the world, all the pleasures of sin, and so forth. But anyways, my point is that we have to remain faithful once we become a believer. And that is the message that Jesus has for the church. In fact, when you look at this, these are the only sermons that Jesus gave to the church after his I'll say it more safely like this. These are the last 7 sermons that Jesus gave to the church. And in these sermons, he says you must remain faithful and you must overcome. And you must continue doing good works, doing good things for his kingdom. And these are things that the church rejects. We don't hear this taught in many sermons today. You don't hear that you have to fight and we have to struggle against the beast of Revelation chapter 13. And they don't even know what the beast of Revelation chapter 13 is, most of them. You won't, I dare say you go to you do a circuit around many of these local churches. If you were to visit each one, just make an entire circuit, I bet you wouldn't hear one sermon that talked about overcoming or that talked about this beast or the dragon that you are to defeat. They're not going to talk about that. They want to paint a different love Jesus that is not the Jesus of the Bible. All right. So here we go. Verse 24. It says, but I say unto you and unto the rest in Thyatira, I think I read this, but as many, now I just got to stop and say one more thing before I forget, because I know our online audience, there are some people that are really into this topic, and want to watch every word I say on this. But these were servants, Jesus is talking to believers. He's not talking to unbelievers. These were believers at one time that are some of them are doing good things, some of them are doing bad things, some have completely fallen away, but these are all believers. He's talking to the people in the church, and he has encouragements for them, he has warnings for them, he has rebukes for them, and so forth. Verse 24, but unto you I say, and unto the rest in Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine, they haven't been deceived by this woman Jezebel, which have not known the depths of Satan as they speak, I will put upon you none other burden. Oh, I think I read that verse. But that which you have, hold fast till I come, okay? Verse 26. Now check this out. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Now check that out. It didn't say to he who is saved. He's not going back and re-quoting John 3:16 again. That's already been done. All these churches already believed in John 3:16. Now the message Jesus has is you have to overcome. You have to endure. You can't give in to the temptations of this world. If you say you follow me, you better well be doing it. And the only way you know how to follow Jesus is by actually reading and studying His Word. Not by listening to a pastor give a sermon based off of 2 verses where he rambles on and on about his dog, his puppy, where he parked his car, or how Jesus loves everybody. Jesus does. But if that's all you ever hear, you're never going to know how to follow Jesus. All right, verse 26. And he that overcometh and keepeth my word... Oh, I read that. I'm sorry. No, think of the reward there. He will give them power over the nations. Think of this isn't a light promise here. I mean, God's people are going to be the rulers in His kingdom. All right, verse 26.